What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here. I hope you guys are doing well. I decided to hop back into Modern Warfare 3. I took a little bit of a break over the holidays. I wanted to see if the game changed at all in anticipation for Season 1 Reloaded. I mean, with Season 1 Reloaded, we're going to be getting League play, we're going to be getting a new map called Rio, and I'm sure there's going to be other changes that come along the way. So I wanted to see where are we at this point of Season 1. But man, oh man, do I regret that decision. I wish I could have just waited until Season 1 Reloaded came, because Modern Warfare 3 right now is even more frustrating than it's ever been. The one thing I will say is at least people seem to be moving around a little bit more. The matches I'm in don't seem to be as slow-paced as they once were, so that's a positive change that I've seen just over the last few weeks. But the current meta in Modern Warfare 3 is so painful to play. It is so not fun. Because I'm not somebody who likes to just sit around and use single shot weapons. It's never been something I've enjoyed. I've always enjoyed using an assault rifle, running around with an SMG. This is the style that I've always tried to play, because that's how I have the most fun. But whenever a meta pops up like this one, where single shot weapons are reigning supreme and it almost seems like you're at a strict disadvantage if you don't use them, it makes the game insanely unfun to play. And I don't know where the right balance is, but I know where it's at currently isn't fair to anybody on either side. It's a little bit overpowering right now with the way the TAC Eviscerator, or whatever it's called, just overpowers seemingly every weapon in the game other than maybe a sniper rifle. And it just makes it so that ray gunning is kind of obsolete. Sure, I can do it in this game only because one or two players are using it. But if everybody in the lobby is using one of them, it just makes it so it's a very unfun experience. It's almost like you're playing hardcore, but in regular matches. And I don't know what necessarily to blame. Obviously, if you want to do the best you can in Call of Duty, you're going to utilize what the meta is so you have the same advantage that everybody else has. You're not going to restrict yourself. You're not going to neuter your ability to perform in the game, especially if you want to do as good as you can. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, you don't want to succumb to this meta and just forcefully make yourself play this style. But on the other hand, you want to have fun playing it. And it's not fun going up against a team of people using single-shot weapons, whether it's snipers or these single-shot battle rifles or whatever it might be, and expect to have a good time. Like, at least if people are running around with MCWs and WSP swarms, like, there's ways to counter that. There's ways to play against those types of players. But if someone's just sitting up with a TAC Eviscerator or with a sniper rifle, it's very difficult to play against. And it's very unfun because it's so overpowered. Like, as it stands right now, I feel as if there needs to be significant tuning to the current meta. And I'm not saying, hey, make the MCW overpowered or make the, what is it that I use, the SVA 445 or whatever it is, overpowered. What I'm saying is at least bring them up to be on par. Because as it stands right now, I am at a disadvantage if I'm using a regular gun trying to go up against these weapons. Because their time to kill is so much faster than mine, you're giving yourself a bit of a handicap. And I don't find that to be fun. Like, yeah, it can be fun for a couple games, but if you're trying to have an extended play session, it really becomes daunting after a while. And the thing is I had a couple fun games a part of this play session, but like this game just made me be like, nope, I'm done. I'm good with Call of Duty for now. And it's just one of those things where I'd like to see them address the meta, because in the past, there's been LMG metas, and when those enter the fold, it becomes extremely boring to play as well, because the LMG meta is extremely boring to play against. I think when Call of Duty is at its strongest, it's when the meta caters to SMGs and ARs. Which is funny, because I felt as if that was the meta in Modern Warfare 2, and I talk about how disappointing the weapon balance was in that game. So I think that Sledgehammer Games needs to fine-tune what's going on here. I don't want to completely eliminate these single-shot weapons, but at the same time, I want them to at least be able to have a little bit more competition with the other weapons in the game. I'm not saying I want to have, every weapon be perfectly balanced. I think that's impossible. So I think we need to find some middle ground here and explore a potential nerf to the current single shot weapons. And again, whether that's increased flinch, increased recoil, increased aim down sight time, whatever it might be, I think something needs to be addressed. And maybe it is decreasing the TTK that they currently have. Only give 75 damage to these weapons if you hit them in the head, or something along those lines. Because as it stands right now, it is a little overbearing. And it's not just me saying this. I actually was exploring Reddit and decided, hey, maybe somebody else is along the same lines as me. And lo and behold, I didn't have to look for long. I found this post here: one shot meta equals worse meta, which I found to be very interesting what the discussion came to. It was never trying to actually say, hey, this is a bad meta to have. This is the meta you get when you have 150 health. The assault rifles and SMGs just can't keep up to these single shot weapons, to the one shot meta. And that's the problem. And honestly, maybe that's the problem here. Maybe it is the fact that it's 150 health. Because earlier I just said that MW2 seemed to have an SMG AR meta, which is when I feel as if Call of Duty's at its best. So maybe that's the solution. Because I don't know if 150 health is the best way to play the game. I'm not really sure. But what I can tell you is when you play in these meta lobbies, it is overwhelming how many shots it takes you to kill somebody versus how many shots it takes them to kill you. And it becomes a very frustrating experience very quickly. Now, again, I have nothing against a player that wants to utilize the meta. That's what I've done for decades on this franchise. The problem is the meta right now creates for a very boring experience in a lot of game modes. Yeah, if you're playing a fast-paced hardpoint or control game, you're going to be less likely to see these types of builds. However, if you're playing S&D or playing Team Deathmatch, these builds are going to be everywhere. And frankly, how do I blame somebody? They're trying to gain that advantage. So this is where Sledgehammer Games needs to step in, and they need to look at this, and they need to utilize the data that they have at their disposal and say what is best for the game. What is going to create a healthy balance so that these metas don't overtake some of the respawn modes and actually make the game more enjoyable across the board. Make it more equitable, I guess you could say. Again, I don't want to nerf them into the ground where they become unusable. But at the same time, I don't want to completely ignore the fact that rag gunning at the moment is kind of a non-option if you're playing in a little bit more of a competitive game. And that's an issue. Before I finish up here, though, I do want to link below this Reddit thread because I do think it's somewhat interesting to see where the conversation went. Sure, some people were blaming each other for utilizing certain weapons, but the main concern seemed to be the health. Right? The fact that 150 health increases the TTK, which in turn makes these weapons more viable and makes the meta move towards where we're at right now. And I found that to be very interesting. Do I necessarily agree? I'm not too sure. But what I can say is that whenever there has been a game with 150 health, the metas have always been a little problematic. Look at Black Ops Cold War, a game I really like. The meta leaned more towards LMGs, right? Again, same thing happened with Black Ops 4, 150 health, LMG style meta. And these metas that promote a little bit different of a gameplay that's away from the AR SMG seem to be Call of Duties that I don't really enjoy as much because I'm an AR SMG type player. So maybe the game's just not catered to me, and that's where my frustrations lie. I would just love to hear your thoughts. I'd love for us to start a little bit of a discussion here and see where the game could go. Do we need to massively nerf the two-shot, one-shot meta? I don't think so. But I think a happy medium needs to exist. So it's up to Sledgehammer Games, but it's also up to us to provide our feedback. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section, and let me know how you would solve the current one-shot meta in Modern Warfare 3. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.